Namaste. Good afternoon. Good evening. Namaste. This is Dr. Aparna. I am your emotional healing synergist. I am an Ayurvedic psychotherapist, a passionate infopreneur, and medical writer. Now, a budding YouTuber. Yes, it took me 3 days of time to come up with this new book because I had to read through the entire book and prepare the summary. So, this time it took me time. So, I apologize for that. And today's topic of discussion, as you can see, is a book by is a book called The Four Agreements, a practical guide to personal freedom. This is written by Don Miguel Ruiz. Um, this book was actually published when I was a toddler, but this book is, I recently found out this book. While I was searching for the books for mental health and self help. So when I actually I started reading this book, The Four Agreements. It gave me so. Matlab, this book is very simple, but it gave me many insights um, on insights and practices which I'm gonna share with you. This book, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, provides readers with practical tools for transforming their lives by adopting these agreements. So, as you can say, the name itself suggests he's talking about four agreements. So, these agreements as guiding principles. So, he talks about four, practices that must be followed for personal freedom. So, and by implementing these practices, individuals can cultivate greater self awareness, healthier relationships, and a deeper sense of purpose. So, Ruiz's writing style is clear and accessible, making the concepts easy to understand and apply. So, one of the book's strength, I felt, is the simplicity and the directness. Matlab, it is straight to the point. The agreements are presented in a straightforward manner, making them easy to remember and incorporate into daily life. So, additionally, the book draws on ancient wisdom traditions in a way that feels relevant and relatable to modern readers. So the book, The Four Agreements, overall, offers valuable insights into how individuals can lead more authentic and fulfilling lives. So I read that it is recommended for anyone, seeking practical guidance on personal growth and self improvement. So, what is it based on? If you ask me, the Four Agreements book is based on Toltec wisdom. So, what is Toltec wisdom? First time I came across, I was like, what is this Toltec wisdom? I mean, it seems interesting. So, Ruiz explains that they consider the manner in which you lived your life as your art. See, Toltec, in the ancient era, the Toltec wisdom was considered that the people who lived their life as an art. That means the Toltec believed that life is a dream and that we are always dreaming, even when awake. Using a modern day analogy, the Toltec concept of a dream is similar to starring in your own movie, following a script we write ourselves. That means the life which you have carved yourselves, and it is scripted by you. So it is, something like that. So the the Toltec path of freedom, there were some quotes in the book which I found interesting. So I just made a note of them and I thought I would share with you. So, breaking old agreements. So, what is Toltec path to freedom? So, everyone talks about freedom, but what is freedom? If we live in a free country, are we free? Are we actually free? So, this wisdom talks about when are we actually free? Only if we are free to be who we are. This book says, matlab, this Toltec wisdom, means that if we just live in a free country, it doesn't mean that we are free. We are free only if we are we are free only if we are who we are. We are allowed to live who we want to live. That means freedom is being who we are, being authentic. So, what's who stops us from being free? So, there's a question that they only pose here. So, they break old or arguments. So, who's stopping from us being free? Only we ourselves. The judge, the victim, the belief system don't allow us to be who we really are. That means our natural state is to enjoy life, play, explore, be happy, and love. The freedom we seek is the freedom to be ourselves. That means, but most of the time we do things to please others. That is so true. See, and because so many of us are domesticated and sick, and we think it's normal. Awareness is the first step towards freedom. So, without awareness, there is no change. Without change, there is no freedom, joy, or love, according to the Toltec wisdom. So, three masteries lead people to Toltecs, to become Toltecs. So, mastery of awareness, mastery of transformation, and mastery of intent. So they talk about mastery of being aware, mastery of being able to transform, and mastery of having an intent to transform or change. Every time we face our fears, we become freer, but breaking free of domestication doesn't happen in a day. As you break the more minor agreements, your power will grow. You can face the gain demons in your mind. So, many are addicted to being the way they are, addicted to anger, jealousy, and self pity. We believe the little voice that tells us, I am not good enough, I am not intelligent enough. Why even try? So, other people will do it because they are better than me. So, these are the belief systems that the Toltec wisdom people are, breaking. So, adopting the four agreements requires repetition. So, here, save your energy because you need it to practice the agreements to reclaim your rightful freedom to be whom you were meant to be. These are all quotes I loved. And your emotions determine how you feel and perceive the world. See, your emotions determine how you feel and perceive the world. Having compassion for ourselves allows us to forgive others. Forgiving yourself is the end of self rejection and the beginning of accepting yourself the way you are. Basically, they're telling that, you know, beginning to accept yourself the way you are leads to personal freedom. That means the forgiving yourself is the end of self rejection. That means you will know when you have forgiven someone when you see them and you no longer have an emotional reaction. See, losing control causes us to repress emotions. A victim represses, a warrior refrains. So, death teaches us how to live. When somebody is, nearer to death, they feel like, they keep regretting that we could have lived this way, we could have lived that way, we didn't do this, we didn't get to do that. you know we refrained from doing this, we refrained from achieving this. However, They are telling that death teaches us how to live, actually. And the difference between a free child and a free adult: an adult has freedom with wisdom, but when while a child has freedom with, innocence. And here, there is a concept in this book, the new dream. We talk about dreams. They are talking about, dreaming when you're, awakened, you know dreaming when your, eyes are fully opened. So what is this dream is heaven on earth. This, they call it as heaven on earth. That means you have the power to create hell or heaven. They say with your knowledge, see yourself living in a new life where you are free to be who you are, to be happy and enjoy a life free of conflict within and without. So imagine living your life the way you want and asking for what you need and saying yes or no to anything or anyone without being judged or judging. So, a life where you don't feel the need to be right or make others wrong. You respect yourself and others, and they respect you. You're no longer afraid of rejection and don't feel the need to be accepted by others because you accept yourself. So imagine loving everything about yourself, including your body and your goodness. There are countless excuses for suffering because suffering makes you feel safe. When we reject others, we deny ourselves and renounce the divine. So only love has the ability to put in the state of bliss. Being in bliss is like being in love. So it is possible to live this way because others have before and continue to do so now. So just to breathe is enough for us to always be happy, to enjoy life. Just to be alive is enough. So the introduction lays the foundation for the teachings that follow in the book. So Don Miguel Ruiz, introduces the concept of dream of the planet. So which he describes as the collective set of beliefs and agreements that shape our perception of reality. So he describes that dream as the collective set of beliefs and agreements that shape our our perception of reality. So this dream is a product of our cultural conditioning, societal norms, and the stories we tell ourselves. So, Ruiz contends that this dream often leads to self limiting beliefs, emotional suffering, and a sense of disconnection from our true selves. So, the dream often leads to self limiting beliefs, emotional suffering, and the sense of disconnection from our true selves. So he suggests that by adopting the four agreements, individuals can break free from this collective dream and find a path to personal freedom, happiness, and spiritual awakening. So the four agreements are presented as an ancient Toltec wisdom that provides a roadmap to live life of authenticity and fulfillment. So how? So the chapter 1 here in this book, there are 7 chapters. So chapter 1 here talks about domestication and the dream of the planet. We are not into the four agreements yet. It is from the next chapter we come to the four agreements. See, the concept of domestication here, he explains that from a young age, individuals are domesticated by society. That means we live according to the society, which means they are taught a set of beliefs, values, and behaviors that are considered acceptable and normal. This process is carried out by parents, teachers, peers, and other authority figures. So Ruiz emphasizes that this domestication is a form of control and that it leads to individuals to conform to societal expectations. So what happens is all these lead people that this domestication is a form of control, that makes us to conform to societal expectation. We are who the society wants to be, or we are who the society expects to be, often at the expense of their own authenticity and inner truth. So this domestication also lays the groundwork for the dream of the planet. So as individuals internalize societal beliefs and judgments, the societal beliefs and judgments become the our internal beliefs as well, so which in turn shape their perception of themselves and the world around them. We also start seeing the world and ourselves like this. So Ruiz introduces the idea that this domestication leads to the creation of what he calls the judge or inner judge. The inner voice constantly evaluates and criticizes our thoughts, actions, and appearance based on the standard set by society. That means our inner voice, that means the inner judge, he calls it as inner judge, always evaluates or criticizes themselves, that means in their thoughts, actions, and appearances based on the standards set by society, based on the standards set by society. So it is not according to what we feel and how we feel react, it is according to the belief, external, societal beliefs and norms is the way we react. So here, and one thing is, by becoming, so what happens is by becoming aware of this domestication and influence of the dream of the planet, individuals can begin to free themselves of these limiting beliefs and judgments. So this awareness is the first step towards adopting the four agreements and finding a path to personal freedom and self discovery. So what happens is, he talks about awareness here. So being aware, awareness, being aware makes helps us to come out of this societal perception and um, bring and find a path to personal freedom and self discovery. So in the overall, in the introduction and the chapter 1, the four agreements provides a powerful framework for understanding the influence of societal conditionings on our beliefs and behaviors. We are societally conditioned on our beliefs and behaviors, so it sets the stage for the transformative journey. So it is setting the stage for us. In the second chapter we are going to talk about the first agreement, so that the book offers and transcend the limitation imposed by the collective dream. So here in chapter 2 we talk about the first agreement. So first agreement is what? Be impeccable with your word. So what is be impeccable with your word is here, you know you talk only whatever you mean. That means in this chapter, Don Miguel Ruiz introduces the first of the four agreements, be impeccable with your word. That means he emphasizes the immense power that words hold and how they can be used to create or destroy. Our words can create or destroy someone's life. So say whatever you mean, don't say whatever you don't mean. That means being impeccable with your word means using language with integrity, honesty, and love. So it involves speaking the truth and avoiding using words to harm yourself or others. So practical example is, imagine a scenario where a friend confides in you. So a friend believes in you about a sensitive matter. being impeccable with your word would involve respecting their trust and not gossiping about it to others. It means you using your words to support and uplift your friend rather than spreading rumors or negativity. So if somebody confides in you and tells you a secret or a sensitive matter, being impeccable with your word is you respect and you respect their trust and you do not gossip about it to others. So this means using your words to support and uplift your friend rather than spreading rumors or negativity. So this is an example. Another example is a father one day, he came from office. He had a he is a migraine. He's a patient of migraine. He usually has migraine attacks. So that day he had migraine attacks, and his son was playing very loudly, and he was singing. And the father says to him that you are singing horribly and stop this. And he shouts to him for a while, like a minute or two. But this is actually that the father did not mean that, but his words were not impeccable. What happened is it destroyed his son's life. His son stopped singing. His son stopped talking to people. He thought that he was actually good for nothing. So he talked that he thought that his voice was not good enough. So it had a very bad impact on the child. So this being impeccable is say whatever you mean, do not utter a word which you don't mean, you know because that can create or destroy one's life. So by being impeccable with our word, we can create an environment of trust and authenticity in our relationships. It enables us to communicate openly and honestly, fostering deeper connections with others. So this is be impeccable with your word, the first agreement. So what you dream, what you feel, and what you really are will all be manifested through the word. So our word is our powerful, our most powerful tool. Impeccability of our word creates beauty and love and leads to life. So your words can set you free or imprison you. So these are all the quotes which were in quoted in the book. So impeccable comes from the word, from the Latin peccatus, which means sin. The im means without, so impeccable means without sin. Sin is that doing anything that goes against yourself. So impeccability means taking responsibility for your actions without judgment. We have learned to lie as a habit of our communication with others and, more importantly, to ourselves. So when we hear an opinion and agree to believe it, it becomes part of our belief system. So the only thing that can break a spell is to make a new agreement based on truth. So we talk incessantly to ourselves and say things like, oh, I look fat. Oh, I look ugly. Oh, I am stupid. So I never understand anything. What happens is that this creates a core belief in your brain. So impeccability of word leaves you feeling good, happy, and at peace. So love yourself by reminding yourself how wonderful you are. These are the some of the fabulous quotes I felt uh, is worthy enough to share. So the second agreement is don't take anything personally. The first agreement which we saw was be impeccable with your word. The second agreement is don't take anything personally. That means in this chapter it is the second agreement is being introduced, that means talked about. Don't take anything personally. He explains that what others say and do is a product projection of their own reality, influenced by their beliefs, their experiences, and emotions. That means it has nothing to do with you. It's not a reflection of your worth or character. Taking things personally leads to unnecessary suffering. So he says that if you take things personally, this, unnecessary leads to suffering. That means an example is, imagine you receive a criticism from a colleague at work. Instead of, you internalizing it as a reflection of your abilities, applying this agreement means considering that the criticism may be influenced by their own experiences or perspective. It is not who you are or what your worth is. It may be because of their own experiences and their own beliefs and their own perspectives they have criticized you. So instead of thinking I'm worthy of nothing, I can't do anything, I can't achieve anything, instead of thinking like this, think like this is their opinion of me, not my worth or my character about me. So it allows you to respond with objectivity and without allowing it to affect your self esteem. Don't take it to your self esteem. If someone is criticizing you or telling bad of you, instead of being defensive, if you take it, if you follow the second agreement, that is, don't take anything personally, then you will not take it to your self esteem, and you will not be defensive, and it also allows you to respond with objectivity and without allowing it to affect your self esteem. So not taking things personally liberates us from the burden of constantly seeking validation from others. In this 21st century, though this book is published years and years ago in 1997, this book, this holds, this is still valid in today's times more, because we hear people nowadays are seeking for constant validation from others. So, if you don't take things personally, it just liberates you from the burden of constantly seeking validation from others. It fosters emotional resilience and allows us to maintain inner peace, even if in the face of criticism or negativity. So, in this chapter, we have some amazing quotes. The second agreement, that is, don't take anything personally. Taking things personally is selfish because we assume everything is about me. Sometimes we all do that. We take things personally. People do things because of themselves, not because of you. So, believing people who say negative things opens you to being victimized. So, taking things personally, what will happen? It leads to defensiveness, it leads to conflicts and making others wrong so you can be right. So, what happens is we instantly jump into the face of defensiveness. No, 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 I'm not that. No, 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 this is not this. So, what happens is there are conflicts. So we get mad when we are afraid. So when you love yourself, you love everything around you. Don't take anything personally. If even if someone says something positive, so he says that even if somebody is praising you or says something positive about you, don't take that also very much personally. you know that will make you easy. If somebody says something negative to you, then you don't take that also personally. This is a practice of not taking anything personally. It is not selective, it cannot be selective, that I will only take positive things personally, and I will not take negative things personally. They are talking about don't take either positive or negative personally. So if someone says how wonderful you are, they're not saying it because of you. You already know how lovely you are. You don't need or you don't seek someone else's validation. That is what is being told. That means if someone says how wonderful you are, they're not saying it because of you. You already know how lovely you are. So if someone says how, how ugly you are, it is also not because they are saying it to you. You already know how lovely you are. So your opinions about yourselves are not necessarily accurate. So don't take what your mind says personally also. So only by understanding, your inner agreements, only by understanding your inner agreements, you can make order out of the chaos. So humans are addicted to suffering. This book's quotes: if you have the need to be abused, you will find it easy to be abused by others. So likewise, if you are with people who need to suffer, something in your makes you abuse them. So people lie to themselves because they're afraid. So don't expect them to be truthful to you. This is just saying that don't take anything personally. So, and don't seek constant social validation from others. If others say one thing but do another, you are lying to yourself if you don't listen to their actions. So taking nothing personally affords you freedom. So if you agree to take nothing personally, you can go anywhere with your heart open without fear of getting hurt. Without fear of getting hurt. So you will not have, if you don't take anything personally, you will, your fear of constantly getting hurt will not be there. You will be free of fear of getting hurt. So this is the second, agreement, that is don't take anything, personally. The third agreement now, that is the fourth chapter in the third agreement. So don't make assumptions. So in this chapter, the author emphasizes the tendency of human mind to fill in gaps of information with assumptions. We many a time assume things which can lead to misunderstandings and conflict. Instead, he encourages open and honest communication. He encourages to communicate, ask questions. For example, consider a situation where a friend cancels plans without giving a specific reason. You are making an assumption. That means making assumption might lead you to believe they don't value your time. You are assuming that because your friend has cancelled the plan and he or she has not given a specific reason, so you are assuming that they don't value your time. However, applying this agreement means asking your friend directly about the reason for cancellation rather than jumping to conclusion. You pick the phone, you ask your friend, why did you cancel the plan, rather than just jumping to the conclusion. That means by avoiding assumptions, we promote clarity and understanding in our relationships. It encourages us to seek the truth and communicate effectively, leading to healthier connections with others. So, by avoiding assumptions, what happens is it always promotes clarity and understanding in the relationships, and it also encourages us to seek the truth and communicate effectively. This also, leads to effective communication. And what happens, leading to healthier connections with others. So the third agreement in the fourth chapter, the third agreement, don't make assumptions. We have few of good quotes. That means we assume we know that others are doing and thinking and believing we are right about our assumptions without asking them. Then we, defend our beliefs and make others wrong. The assumptions may prove others wrong, but it does not make you right. Not asking questions creates conflict and resentment, while asking questions creates clarity and understanding. So we only see, what we want to see sometimes, and what we want to hear. We hear only what we want to hear sometimes. So it is not important if the answer is correct. Just the answer itself makes us feel safe. So we have agreed that asking questions is unsafe. If others love us, they should know how we feel. So we always feel, people always feel that, asking questions is usually, unsafe. So they feel that instead of, asking questions, they will make their assumptions. So what happens is, when they make their assumptions, they are far from the reality. So, and here we assume we are right about what we believe and will defend our position to the point of destroying relationships. So we assume that others think, the way we think, feel the way we feel, judge the way we judge, and abuse the way we abuse. This is why we fear being ourselves. We think others will judge us as we judge them and ourselves. We think our love will change others, but others only change if they want to, not because of our love. So, when we like someone, we see what we want to see and ignore the red flags. So, then we get hurt, we justify our emotional pain and blame the other person or for our choice to be with them. So, this always happens. True love is accepting others as they are without wanting to change them. Find someone who you don't feel the need to change and who doesn't feel the need to change you. So instead of making assumptions, ask the person. Knowing the, truth will free. See, ask when we feel like, see, when we like someone, we see what we want to see and ignore the right, red flags. Instead of making assumptions, ask the other person. Knowing the truth will free you from conflict generated by false beliefs. Taking the action over and over again strengthens your will, nurtures the seed. So here they emphasize on taking the action over and over again. So what is the action? Don't make any assumptions. you know Start communicating, start asking questions. This will strengthen your will, nurtures the seed, and establish a solid foundation for the new habit to grow. So here, for assumptions, see, examples are workplace misunderstanding. Imagine there are two colleagues. Let us take an example of Sarah and John. Sarah assumes John is avoiding her because he didn't say hello in the morning. So, in the reality, John was preoccupied with a deadline. That's why he didn't say hello. If Sarah had asked, why didn't you, greet me this morning, she would have understood the real reason and avoided unnecessary tension. So, this is a workplace misunderstanding. In the relationship misunderstanding, in a romantic relationship, if one partner assumes the other is upset without asking, it can lead to unnecessary conflict. Clear communication is a key to understanding each other's feelings and needs. This is the third agreement. Don't make assumptions. The next chapter is chapter 6. Always do your best. This is the fourth, agreement. So, always do your best. Ruiz suggests that doing your best at any given moment, is the key to a fulfilling life. The best may vary depending on circumstances, but as long as you give in your all, you can be satisfied. This agreement promotes self compassion and discourages self judgment. So some practical examples here in this, we can give some practical, some practical examples. So what are the practical examples here are is, in academic pursuit, maybe a student might not always get a perfect score, but if they genuinely put in their best effort, they can take pride in their accomplishments regardless of the outcome. So in the professional life, you know this is in the academic pursuit. If a student genuinely puts the right effort, the best effort, they can take pride in their accomplishments regardless of the outcome. In the professional life, in the workspace, doing your best means fulfilling your responsibilities to the best of your ability. It does not necessarily mean perfection, but rather giving your full effort and attention to the task at hand. So in professional life as well, in the workplace, doing your best means fulfilling your responsibilities to the best of your ability. In the physical health aspect as well, so we have talked about academics, we have talked about professional, we are talking about physical health here. So always do your best is, if someone is working on their fitness, doing their best means giving their all during workouts, even if they don't see immediate results. Progress takes time and consistency. So progress always needs time and consistency. So next agreement here is, the fourth agreement is, always do your best. So in this we have some quotes: under any circumstances, always do your best, no more and no less. So know that your best will continuously change from one moment to the next. In the morning when you are rested, your best will be more than in the evening when you are tired. If you push too much, you will go against yourself and deplete your energy. If you effort too little, you will feel frustrated and critical of yourself. Doing your best leaves no room for self judgment. So here, many spend their whole lives doing things they don't enjoy to get a reward, but the reward is only temporarily satisfying. So they escape into actual and do your best because you want to, not because you expect a reward. So, if you do your best and like what you do, you will enjoy life. When you do your best, there are no regrets and no one can judge you. Doing your best allows you to accept yourself. Living entirely means taking action. Action is life. Inaction, like sitting in front of the TV every day for years, is non life. Non action comes from a fear of being alive and risking expressing who you are. So taking action is being alive. It's taking the risk to go out and express your dream. So you were born with the right to be happy. You were born with the right to love, to enjoy, and to share your love. Not doing your best denies you the right to be you. Divinity is expressed through you by being alive and loving yourself and others. The first three agreements depend on you doing your best. So if you do your best in search for personal freedom, in search of self love, you will discover that just a matter of time before you find what you are looking for. So you have the knowledge and you know what to do. You need to do it. So using every power you have to keep the four agreements is worth it. So for they will transform your life. So repetition is the source of all learning. You know, you will fall again and again, just like the author. But each time you start anew, practicing the four agreements gets more manageable and more accessible. So Here, the summary of the agreements are: be impeccable with your word, the four agreements. Don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. The mastery of love and self love. Ruiz discusses the importance of self love and how it influences our interactions with others. He highlights that we love and accept ourselves, we are better able to love and accept others without judgment. So here we also talked about, I also spoke about breaking old agreements of the Toltec wisdom in this book. So Ruiz acknowledges that adopting these agreements requires efforts as they challenge deeply ingrained societal and cultural beliefs. He encourages readers to be patient with themselves and persist in practicing the agreements. So the conclusion is to reinforce the transformative potential of the four agreements. What happens, it encourages us to apply, leading to a greater fulfillment, love, and personal freedom. I hope you liked the book summary and my takeaways from the book. So thank you for staying tuned. I'll be back in the next session. Namaste.